I'm here today in Bewbush with Shaun Carr. Now, a lot of you probably don't know Shaun Carr, but I think you might do from now on. Shaun Carr passed down Mowbray Drive this morning at about 8:55, walking and could smell smoke. I'll let Shaun tell you the rest from there. Shaun, tell us a little bit what happened. You smelt smoke, you're walking home from the school run.
Yeah, I was walking down Mowbray near Cotswold Walk, and as I was walking past the flats, I could smell. It definitely wasn't wood smoke, you know, sometimes you get someone burning a fire or something. I thought, that's an unusual smell, that's a house smell, that's a house fire. I don't ask me how I knew that, but... And then I sort of looked behind me and I saw black smoke pouring out of a window. So I ran over to the window and started banging on it. You could see quite clearly it wasn't just, it was a fire of some sort. And I was banging on the window and kept banging on all the windows, screaming if there's anyone in the house, trying to stir people and that. I couldn't see, and I tried to get in, but you couldn't. The window was locked, and I'm not tall enough, so I couldn't unhook it. I shouted, so I ran round to the front of the house, and thankfully someone had left the door open, ran in
to the flat,
and I started kicking the man's door, trying to get. Well, I didn't know who was in there at the time, but trying to kick the door to get someone's attention. And then I see smoke pouring out, and then obviously I heard someone come out the top there, and then it suddenly clicked to me that it could be a gas fire, it could be anything, it could be an explosion. So I suddenly thought, oh, hell, I've got to go. So I ran upstairs, started banging on everyone's door to get them out. Got people out, as many people as I could. I banged on, I think it was 6 or 7 doors. I just shouted to them, screamed at them, there's a fire, get out the building, get out the building.
And all the time you're doing this, you rang
the fire brigade. Yeah, I was ringing the first. I couldn't remember the name of the building or the name of the road. You know, I was so busy trying to get people out, and then I shouted to someone as they were coming downstairs, "What's the address? What's the address?" And with that, then the fire brigade said, "Oh, someone else has just rang up with the address." I gave them the address, but they said someone's just rang up with it now, so we know. I said, "All right, great, all right, okay, I've got to go." I hung up and I ran around and started banging on the thing, and someone said, "Man's just run out the flat," and I couldn't see anyone, and then he come around the thing and he was covered black in obviously the soot and stuff.
He was asleep, wasn't he?
He was
asleep,
yeah,
and he didn't
told
know.
Me he was asleep.
He told you that he thought it was raining when you were
thought
knocking
it was raining,
on
so he thought he could hear banging of raindrops. I said that was probably me banging on the window trying to get you up, or on the door. He was distraught. He went back. He said his wife and kids were in the house, so we tried to go back into the house, but it was so thick and that you couldn't. As soon as I got to the door, you just couldn't breathe. So I dragged him out, and then we ran round the front of the house, round the back, and we managed to unhook the window. And he climbed in first. And I was going to climb in, and then a woman come around and said, "Your kids are at school. Your wife's taking your kids to school." So I shouted to him, "The kids are at school," and that. "Come on, get out!" And he got out. He got out and he was on the floor, but he was disorientated, he didn't really know, and he was screaming, "My wife's in there, my wife's in there." I said, "She can't be, she's taking the kids to school." And I said, "This woman, did he definitely then?" And someone was ringing, another woman was speaking to another woman, and they rang and they were speaking to her. So we knew she was safe, so I said, "Oh, she's safe, your wife and your kids are safe." He still didn't, I don't think he quite got it, because he was so...
He's probably quite disoriented.
Yeah, he's taking in so much smoke, I don't think he quite got it. Then he said, "My dog's in there," and I just said, "Look, don't worry about your dog. Unfortunate, but don't worry about your dog. You're out, and that's the main thing."
Now, you told us that you do believe, and so do we, from what you've told us, that a couple of minutes later, that man would not have gotten out of that flat, would he?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm no expert, so I couldn't tell you, but the smoke was so... I mean, it was the colour of the telly. It was black. It was absolutely black. You couldn't see further than 2 inches, and it was so... I mean, I got just inside the door, and I couldn't breathe. So he was really lucky to get out. He was lucky. I mean, God must have been looking after him, because
you were looking after him, Shaun. You were looking after him.
It's just luck. It was luck. You know, like I said, my friend Sam was going to give me a lift home, and I said, "No, lazy people took over the car," joking. Because it was such a nice morning, I thought I'm going to walk home, and it's one of the times you're glad you did.
Fate's fate. Yeah. But you did a really good deed today, Shaun. You know, you saved somebody's life. Like you say, a couple of minutes, even if it had been 5 more minutes. You said there was no one around. There wasn't anyone
around. No one to walk past. I mean, I think the banging on the window brought a few people. And definitely when I was kicking the door, the people that were in the flat started to come out. And
but nobody else in the flat knew what was going on.
I don't think so. I don't think there was nobody around. There was no one. I know a lad come out. I think he lived above him, and he said, "Well, like, what's going on?" I said, get out. Yeah, there's a fire downstairs below you. Get out." And I don't know if he was on his own or if he had family. And there was some kids upstairs on the top floor with their mum. I said, drag them out. She had a dog, and she dragged them all out. And there was, I can't remember who else came out. I was more concerned with the bloke, to be honest, than what was going on there.
Yeah.
He was laying down on the floor, and I made him sit up with this girl. We made him sit up because he looked like he was going to go to sleep, and I thought, hey, you don't want to be going to sleep. No. He must have taken in so much smoke. He must have had so much in his lungs. So I made him sit up, and until the ambulance got there, and then they took over. And then basically, once everyone turned up, the ambulance fired, but I just left. So many people there, I just left.
Just left?
Yeah, just left, yeah.
You just left. You just saved a man's life and just went home.
I was going to town. So.
No, let's go to town. What do you think of your husband then? He's pretty heroic, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know nothing about it, and just, so I rang him up and he told me, I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? It's like, you've been checked out, because I'm fine, so, but I'm very proud, very, very proud.
Yeah, well, we're quite proud of him, we don't even know him. And I have said that, at the end of the day, everybody should be proud of somebody like yourself, because those sort of quick reactions were what were needed, weren't they? I mean, if you'd stood and panicked and maybe decided to ring the emergency services first, just those few minutes.
I did think about it afterwards, and I just think, I know you're supposed to ring the emergency services first, but I think if I hadn't banged on the window, those couple of minutes, it may sound like a couple of minutes, you think 60 seconds is nothing, 2 minutes is nothing, but when you're in a house full of smoke, that's the difference between living and dying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to me, if there was anyone in the house, that was fundamental, at least waking them up or trying to get them out. Yeah. And then I thought, while I was doing it, I could be ringing the fire brigade while I'm doing this. I could be doing two things at once here, so I started ringing the fire brigade while I was doing that. And then, as I say, I was ringing there. I was thinking, hang on a sec, there's other people in this building, and they're going to be in trouble if I don't get them out. Like I say, I didn't know what caused the fire, so.
That's amazing. You're quick thinking, in our opinion, and I'm sure everybody else watching this, and people that were there as well, will agree that I think your quick actions saved that man, and maybe even other people's lives. Because if the fire had gotten out of control without any help or assistance, or the fire brigade being there, could have been a lot worse, couldn't it?
It could have done. Oh yeah, it definitely could have been a lot worse. And it's kind of a bit strange, really, because when everybody was out and everybody in the police and the ambulance were there, stuff there, I just thought to myself, okay, right, well, I'll let them get on with it. I thought, hang on a sec, I'll just ring my company, because I work for Metrobus. I was thinking, just let them know that don't send any buses down there, the road's going to be blocked off. So I called them up, told them, they must have thought, he's not working, what's he doing? I thought, well, the buses aren't going to be able to get them down here, so.
I bet you forgot to tell them that you just saved somebody's life first.
No, I didn't.
Far too modest.
He just said, he said, well, I just did what I thought anyone would do. And I went, do you not understand that you've saved some children still having a dad?
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
A woman having a husband.
Absolutely.
He's like,
he made a big difference to a family's life today.
Very much so.
Yeah, you really did. And we, for one, are honoured to meet you. Thank you for what you did this morning.
They thanked me, that's enough. They thanked me, the wife thanked me, and I think it must have been his dad thanked me, and I don't know who else was there. And that's enough. It's thingy. The other thing I will say is that if people are going to see this, is that this family have lost everything now.
Yeah.
So if people want to donate things, people have got stuff that they don't need, and they, even if they're going to sell it for 40 quid, if they don't need it, this family could probably do with it now. Yeah. Because I can guarantee you they lost nearly everything. That smoke was so bad. Yeah. I've seen the damage smoke does. So.
Yeah, we passed it earlier, and it did look pretty dark.
Yeah, that's imagine it's damaged everything. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Let's start donating. I think that's a brilliant idea. We'll try and coordinate something somehow. We'll let you know. We'll tell you on our Facebook page or on our website. But meanwhile, I would like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Carr for letting us come to their home today, and thanks Shaun for being our local hero. Thank you, Shaun.
Thank you.
Cheers. Well, I've popped up to see Gus Falkenham, who lives opposite the home of Max and Kelly, I believe, who's sadly their flat set on fire this morning. Now, Gus, we've just told you that we went and interviewed the gentleman, Shaun Carr, who came and saved you. Tell us.
Well, no, but I didn't know nothing about it. It was only him knocking on, hammering on the door saying, fire, everybody out. So I got the elderly lady I care for. Of course, I shut the door, get her ready, And then we got out, but it was black. You couldn't see where he was going.
And that was in the stairwell, wasn't it? So
Yeah,
So when
yeah.
he knocked on your door and you opened it, the smoke was there.
He just grabbed it by the throat.
So he was risking his life already.
Yes,
going up
he
and down that
was.
stairwell.
Definitely risking his life. Because all the smoke was coming out, it was pouring out the windows. Of course, I could only think about where's Max, Bullseye and Kelly. But Kelly had already gone up and taken the kids to school. And she hadn't got back yet, because it was only just gone 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Of course, I tried to phone Max, but of course, next thing we know, he's hollering out the window, and he got halfway out the window, and they oinked him out the front window, like. And of course, Glenn Kelly come, but then their poor dog Bullseye.
Yeah.
And he didn't make it.
No.
I've had a drink, and I'm going to have another one for him. Send him on his way.
Oh, bless
because
you.
I love animals myself.
We
so.
do indeed. We do indeed. Now, Gus, obviously we know you personally, and we're
Well,
very,
yes.
very pleased to see that you're still in one
I'm
piece.
still here.
And it's nice to know that Max and Kelly are still in one piece.
Yes, thank God.
Although sadly, their flat is quite damaged.
yeah.
How's yours? How's everybody else's?
No problem with mine at all. The fire brigade were brilliant.
Yeah.
They did their job. Absolutely perfect.
Excellent.
Made sure everybody come out, went and checked all the buildings. I told him to leave my homemade wine alone.
Of course.
Oh yes, yeah.
But you'd like to commend the Shaun.
Oh,
that-
definitely, yes.
And without him, you think that it could have been a lot
Well,
worse?
no, I wouldn't have known it was going on. Because I get in there and I watch my telly, and I'm climatised to my telly. And I couldn't smell anything. It's only until the Shaun came banging on the door, I opened the door, next thing I know there's smoke oozing out of Max's windows.
Yeah.
Of course then you act quick.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
out we went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us today, Gus, and
No
we're very
problem.
glad to see you still in one piece.
Yes.
And again, well done, Shaun. Sadly, the dog didn't make it, which was quite sad. And Gus is going to have a drink for him, which is quite sweet. So, cheers.
The best.
All right, thank you.
All right.